Yeah. Cool. Okay. Sorry, everyone. We're a few minutes late. I'm Liv. I'm part of the global team, and I've got Sid and Hannah online as well. Hannah is in our London office. She's one of our
Hi,
resource
everyone.
consultants over there. And Sid is in our Sydney office. Yeah, so it's quite informal really. We're just going to go through a little bit about teaching in the UK, which is really exciting. If you have any questions, feel free to pop them through in the chat and we can answer them. But we will have an answering thing at the end as well. So if you want to stay online, we can do that. Hopefully you can all see my screen. I just want to do the acknowledgement of country first. So we respectfully acknowledge the traditional custodians of these lands, the Wurrung peoples of the Kulin Nation on which we are meeting today, and we recognise their continuing connection to the lands, waters and skies, and we pay our respects to elders past and present and extend that respect to all First Nations people present today. So yeah, a little bit about us. I'll go first. So my name, like I said, Liv. I've been with ANZUK UK since April. I originally started working on the schools team here in Melbourne in the temp space for people looking for CRT work. I'm originally from New Zealand, so I'm a primary teacher from there. So I graduated and headed over to London back in 2017. I did a bit of teaching over there, and I actually ended up working in recruitment over there for my last year and a half. And my favourite country I've been to so far is Ireland. I've been about three times. So yeah.
I'll go next. Hey everyone, my name's Sid. I am a UK senior consultant here in Sydney. As you can probably tell from the accent, I grew up in London, first 27 years. Also spent 3 years over there teaching. So yeah, know London really well. Really excited for all your experience over there. My favorite countries are Italy and Japan. So especially for those of you heading over to the UK, very much recommend getting over to Italy when you can.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah. I'm actually in London at the moment, so it's about 7:07 a.m. over here, which is a bit different. So I actually worked in Collingwood for about 6 months, and then I moved about 4 months ago to London, and I've absolutely been loving it. I've also got about a year's experience of primary teaching under my belt as well, which is kind of handy when I'm chatting to a lot of teachers, kind of know what you're going through. And yeah, my favorite country is Italy, but I've also loved Portugal as well. It was amazing.
Cool. So yeah, a little overview on what we'll be covering. I'm not going to go through and rattle each of them. I know you can all see it on the screen, but yeah, we'll be looking to cover in as much detail as possible all of these bullet points here to hopefully give you a well-rounded view and to make you feel better prepared for your upcoming trip to the UK or your sort of questions and queries you've got about moving over there.
Yeah. Also, I'll do a quick poll. If everyone wants to type in the comments, or you can just say aloud. Are you a teacher or are you a teaching assistant? Yeah, it'd be great to know. And Sid can get on with the introduction to ANZUK.
Cool. So yeah, a little bit about us as a company. We're a global recruitment business with 29 offices across Australia, Canada, New Zealand, the United Kingdom, Ireland, Denmark, and the USA. So quite wide-reaching in terms of that global opportunities. Past 16 years, we've supported educators moving across the globe. So Australians going over to the UK educators moving over here. So yeah, gain that experience teaching in a new geography and the sort of lifestyle that comes with that as well. And yeah, we look to support that 360 across your career, whether you're a teaching assistant, teacher, learning support, we look to assist you in that journey. So at the moment, as you can probably see from the pictures on there, the UK recently had well, they're still going through a cold snap, but they certainly had a very, very snowy experience, as is seen with one of our educators in the middle there. But in terms of work opportunities, coming into a very busy time of year in the UK in terms of casual relief work, as well as lots of long-term opportunities. Yeah, it's a great time to be getting over there. But even if you are thinking of moving over later in the year, we will touch upon the other experiences and opportunities we have coming up.
Yeah, and I guess in another poll, has anyone been to the UK before, or like to Europe, I guess, that part of the world? I know I hadn't before I'd been.
Yeah, this is my first time here as well. So yeah, I'd never been to London, made the big move, which was a little bit scary. But yeah, it's the best decision I've ever made so far. So I guess, why should you teach in the UK? So it is a big opportunity for some personal growth, so you can really step outside of your comfort zone, start to develop some cultural awareness. You know, there's so many amazing countries just around the corner. I went to Vienna the other weekend, and it took about a few hours just to get there. It was a dream. Like, I've always wanted to go to Vienna, and you can do that on the weekends, which is great. And you get to experience living and working in another country, which is quite different from just traveling to a country and being a tourist. Yeah, you get to join lots of sporting teams, have your own community of friends, which is really nice. Yeah, in terms of career development, getting some UK experience on your CV is regarded very highly, especially if you are looking to move back to Australia after a bit of a stint in London. So you can get some references from the UK, which will look amazing, and also get some professional development. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but we do have lots of different settings and different schools that we work with, which can really develop your career. Yeah, in terms of life experience, you're making friends from all different places around the world. You're traveling on weekends, you're meeting people you wouldn't normally meet, which is really, really great. Yeah, and we have an amazing educator community here. So we have lots and lots of events, and you're meeting people who have gone through the same journey as you. So there's lots of touch points there for you to develop strong relationships. And I found, yeah, even just living in the UK, I've met so many people who've made the same journey as me, and it just makes it so much easier to, yeah, find people that are similar to you.
We should probably preface as well, when we say London, we do mean all of the UK. Hannah's just living
Absolutely,
and
sorry.
in London. We have to check ourselves all the time.
UK.
I know I did it too, but we've obviously not just in London. But yeah, I guess steps
Out of interest, yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have anyone who's moving, yeah, not in London, to Wales, to Bristol, somewhere a little bit different?
Surrey. Does anyone know
Surrey.
where they might want to head to?
Thinking Surrey, amazing.
Yeah, Surrey's beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
And super close as well to get into London if you want. But yeah, I guess in terms of like your steps for your journey. So yeah, it's really, everyone's super different. Some people might be going in a few weeks. Some people might be heading over in, thinking 2 years time. So yeah, so everyone's super varied their journey. I guess initially you have a chat with our team. So depending on like what state you're in or whereabouts you are, that will depend if it's like Sid or I or Tyler as well. He's actually in the UK at the moment. I think he's in Wales today. But yeah, have an initial chat with us so we can kind of understand your preferences and your working, what you kind of think you're looking for in terms of work. And then we can arrange contact from the UK as well. So having someone in ground in the UK, so like Hannah, she has definitely managing a few international educators, I guess, is that what you call them, Hannah? People that are heading over to the UK, which is exciting. So yeah, anytime up to 12 months out. So if you're thinking you're heading over, next January, we can start that process now. If it's a bit longer than that, then we can kind of touch base close to that time as well, for sure. So yeah, contact from the UK, and then the next step is definitely the compliance. We've got a compliance team over there who help with all of that, so that they're amazing, and they help with all the police checks and everything like that. So you're good to go. I guess our aim is that you're cleared for work before you leave Australia or New Zealand, which is great. So you don't have to worry about it when you're on the beach in Greece and things like that. And yeah, part of that is having an online registration as well. It's like a video call with your consultant you've been speaking to. Make sure that, again, all your preferences are all correct and things like that. Cleared for work, and then yeah, you're in the classroom. When that might be, everyone's again super varied. It might be the next day. It could be in a month or two after they arrive. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks, Liv. So I'm just going to touch very briefly on this, but so these are the UK term dates. They're a little bit different from our terms in Australia. It might be quite handy to just have a quick look at this calendar if you are sort of planning on coming in the next year or so, and just try and plan out when you think, you want to take your holidays. You might want to do, a month of travel and then arrive and start work straight away. You might want to have a bit of a break. So our biggest holidays, of course, is the summer term. All of our educators love getting out, especially to, Italy and all those lovely hot countries during this time. So, even maybe before summer term, it would be great to maybe come to London, drop your bags off, do a bit of travel, and then you're ready for the next year. So our autumn term is Thursday, the 1st of September to Friday, the 21st of October. Then we have half-term breaks. And then we've got 35 more days, and then our Christmas school holidays, which is, only about 2 weeks, which is a lot shorter than our Australian Christmas holidays. Then we've got our spring term. So we've got 29 days, half-term break, 30 days, and then our Easter school holidays. And then, of course, our summer term as well. There's also some bank holidays in there as well, so they're highlighted in yellow. So a good one if you want to take, a long weekend or something like that as well.
Perfect. And I guess when is everyone looking to travel to the UK? If you've got your flights booked, or not quite yet, and I can go on to the visa requirements. Just over a year. Cool, Steph. Love it. 2024. Yeah, it tends to be like lots of people go over in January just with the end of the Australian school year. But yeah, everyone's again super varied. But yeah, I've touched on the visa requirements. So not majority, lots of people go over on the Youth Mobility Scheme visa. That's what I personally went over. I think is that what you're on hand, is the 2-year one? Yeah. So it's for anyone Australian, New Zealand, Canadian citizens. You can apply before your 31st birthday. It's a 2-year working holiday visa. Come and go as much as you want. Do whatever you want. Travel as much as you can. But it can only be done once. So once you've started it, you can't pause it and then start again. It just runs for the whole 2 years. The application costs about £250, and then the actual visa itself is about £940. So I just tend to double things for the pound. Looking at around 1,100 pounds is an upfront cost, but that includes your healthcare for 2 years. So if you want to go to the doctor, it's free. Dentist is really cheap as well, which is always good. That's what most people are on. Some people, if you're lucky enough to have grandparents born in the UK, you can apply for the ancestry visa. That gives you 5 years in the UK, which is awesome. Obviously, it costs a little bit more to have, but yeah, and we'll send this pack through to you guys, and there's a few blog posts we can send and stuff. That's great. Otherwise, a UK passport is like the golden ticket, I guess. If you don't apply for either of those, the skilled worker visa is probably another option for you. That's a sponsorship from a UK school, so it's a little bit more trickier, I guess. You need to have a confirmed job from the UK. And there's a minimum standards and things like that. Math, science, Mandarin, they're probably the main subjects that schools look to sponsor. But again, if that's, we're always happy to help and go from there. Steph just asked the ancestry visa include this with Italian citizenship, so EU passport. So you probably best answer that one.
In terms of it doesn't, but there are other ways in which you can. So post Brexit, it is slightly trickier, but there is a visa that you can obtain as an Italian citizen. So I'll share the details of that in the chat.
Cool. Thanks, Sid. But yeah, do you want to talk about the location options, Sid?
Yes, absolutely. So in terms of the location options we have, if you can see that on the screen there, we are located in London, Surrey, Bristol, regional England, Newport, Wales, and regional Wales. So I suppose it really does depend on what it is you're looking for. And we'll sort of go through in a bit more detail now the pros and cons of living in those type of areas.
Yeah, cool.
So in terms of London, as I said, I grew up there for the first 27 years of my life, so probably slightly biased in that regard, but the capital city of the UK, there's so much going on in terms of culture, nightlife, food. It's a fantastic place to live, to really get a feel for what the UK is about. In terms of transport and getting around London, I think it's really, really easy. You've got the tube, about 11 different tube lines that get you around from west, north, south, and east, and it's fairly straightforward and fairly cheap as well. In terms of renting, at the moment, you're probably looking between 500 to 700 a month for a room in London, so working out to be around about that $900 to $1,100 for a room. Or if you were looking to live on your own, you'd probably be looking at around about $1,600 plus per month for a small studio or 1-bedroom flat. Now, these are rough, dependent on, the further out from central London you go and to the sort of surrounding areas. So there's outer London suburbs like your Barnets. The money will go further in terms of what you're looking for. Obviously, the closer into the CBD, the more expensive the rent will go. In terms of Surrey, the reason why I would say Surrey is a great place to live, especially if you're thinking from a money standpoint, is your rent will be cheaper, but you can still commute very easily into London to get to a lot of the schools in the surrounding areas, especially the schools in Southwest London, South London. The train links are very quick and don't take too long at all. So if you're thinking you want to get more sort of bang for your buck in terms of a bigger place, recommendation would be to live somewhere like Surrey and work in the schools in London. The schools in Surrey are fantastic as well. So if you wanted to work at the schools closer, but if you wanted to get a feel for what the London schools were like, living in Surrey and then working in London would be a great shout.
Yeah.
Cool. And if London's not for you, we have other options in terms of the UK. So I'll start with Newport. Newport is it's beautiful. It's a very scenic, close to the coast town in Wales, very close to the capital city, Cardiff, as well. So has a real sort of feel to it where there's a lot of culture, lots of some fantastic theatres, great sporting arenas very close as well. And again, if it's something where you're looking for something slightly cheaper, your rent is substantially cheaper in Wales than it would be in the UK. So you'd be looking at about £250 per month for a room in Cardiff or Newport, and about £700 per month for a 1 or 2 bedroom flat. So definitely cheaper than living in London. The thing to keep in mind is your daily rate from a teaching standpoint will be slightly less, but definitely in terms of that all-round cost of living, it's a lot cheaper in Wales than it is in London at the moment. And you'd probably be likelier to find a place if you were moving over quite imminently. So yeah, certainly worth an option. And Bristol's a fantastic city. So slightly smaller than London, but has a real feel to it in terms of a fantastic music scene, great culture, great history. And the surrounding areas are beautiful. So in terms of that sort of County Gloucestershire around Bristol, fantastic sort of natural heritage sites, a really beautiful place to live. It feels sort of quintessentially English is what I would say about Bristol. It's really nice looks. You've got the railway system into London from Bristol as well is very, very easy to work, and you're only about an hour and a half. So if you have friends that are living in London but you're living in Bristol, easy to get to over a weekend. The rental costs are marginally cheaper than in London. It is still quite expensive, but again, what you would be paid through your casual or long-term work would be reflective of that.
Yeah. Cool.
In terms of the types of work we can offer for you as a teacher, and this is related to whether it's you're in London, you're in Wales, or you're in Bristol, we cover early years teacher, whether that be in a early years centre or a reception that is connected to a primary school. So we work and can find you roles in a nursery and reception or specialist leadership positions in either of those two. Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2 primary teacher roles, or Key Stage 3 to Key Stage 5 secondary teacher roles. Now, the one thing I suppose for those of you going over to the UK for the first time to keep in mind, the key stages are slightly different to over here. So Key Stage 5 is around about the Stage 6 over here, and then just work your way down from there. So Key Stage 5 covers the A levels of UK students, which is the equivalent of the HSC exam over here. So just something to keep in mind in that regard there. And cool. So in terms of if you're going over and you're not a teacher, but you're looking to work within schools, we cover a variety of support staff roles in all the areas that we've mentioned so far. So early years through to Key Stage 5. We also work SEN support roles, pupil referral unit support roles. A pupil referral unit is a sort of behaviour unit that's either attached to a school or stands alone. So if it's something where you wanted to, I suppose, upskill yourself in terms of that behaviour management, that's a really effective role to undertake. General classroom TA roles, you can see from the others there, we offer a sort of wide variety of support work. So if it's something where you wanted to get a general feel for a UK classroom, we'd be able to get you covered in any of those areas.
So we do have some different types of schools. So we've got our academies. So they're sort of a group of school that fall under the same umbrella. So they're owned by sort of the same company and they're spread throughout different locations. Again, just as Sid was saying, we've got our pupil referral units. We've got some special educational schools as well, which is really great if you're wanting to get some of that experience to add to your CV. We also work with nurseries and infant schools. So they're sort of the equivalent of, I guess, kindergartens. I know we call them kindergartens in Melbourne. Not sure if you're from somewhere else in Australia. We've got co-ed and single-sex schools, private and independent schools that we work with as well, faith schools, some community schools and some council-run schools as well. So some of your work options. So if you're thinking about moving over to the UK, there's some different opportunities that are available. So you can start and do some supply or day-to-day work. This is really great because it is quite flexible as well. You can work around your holidays, you can work around, you know, traveling and things like that too. So if you are looking to do some supply work or day-to-day work, we have a really great app and it's really easy to update your availability on that app. You don't have to call us and tell us when you're wanting to take time off. You just block yourself out whenever you don't want to work. And it's a really good way to build some relationships with a lot of different schools and find the best fit for you. And I think, you know, I found even being here in London, lots of people come over, try some different schools out. And once they build relationship with the staff in those schools and the students, they're often requested back to those schools and there might be some opportunities that come from those supply days for long-term work. If you were looking for some long-term contracts, we've got plenty of those available. So pay can change. So there's sort of a scale in London. If you are looking to go into long-term contracts, you will be paid to scale. So there's an outer London scale and there's an inner London scale as well. So that's really interesting and just to be aware of as well. It's a really good way to become part of a school community. So you'll have those staff members that'll be with you for that time period. And it's a really good way to start, you know, putting those behaviour management strategies in place because you will be consistently with the same students and developing your career. We've also got some permanent contracts available as well. So this is employment directly through a school. So what would happen is you would apply directly to that school and we'd help you do that. And that school would actually take you as an employee of ours onto their book. So you would be employed and paid directly through that school. Again, there would be pay changes. So your salary would be paid to scale and that would be negotiable directly through the school. So they would be, you know, paying for things like your sick leave and things like that as well. And you would still remain involved in the ANZ UK community. So you could come to all of our events and still be, in contact with us as a company.
Yeah, and I guess do people know what kind of work they'll be looking for? If you want to pop in the chat, like if it would be like CRT or like supply work, contract, or like more permanent work. It's always interesting because everyone's so different what they're looking for. I'll let you go on to the next bit too, Hannah.
Yeah. So I guess the great part is we do offer educator relocation bonuses. So we do have a program called our Ambassador Program. It's pretty much a 5-day-a-week guarantee of work. To be honest, we can guarantee you as much work as you'd like. So if you're wanting to work 3 days a week, 2 days a week, 4 days a week, we can guarantee you those days of work. It's pretty much benefiting us because we know who is available for work. If we've got someone who's available 5 days a week, we know we can talk to that person and try and get them out 5 days a week, so we can rely on you. And it benefits you, especially, you know, if you are looking to pay rent and things like that, you know how much income you're going to be getting each week. So if you do sign up to our Ambassador Program, we can get £250 off your flights. And on the successful completion of your first term in the UK, you will be eligible for a relocation bonus. So after you complete your first term, you can get that £250 plus that $50 reimbursement from your visa support fee. So if you were going straight into a contract role, you could get up to £500 off your flight. So that's after completion of your first term in that contract in the UK. You would get that $500 off, and again, that $50 reimbursement for the visa support claim as well. Beautiful. So there are some different methods of payment. I feel like, Sid, you might be the best person to talk about this one.
Absolutely, I'll jump on it now. So yeah, the two pay methods that we offer through ANZ UK are to be paid through a PAYE, so that is directly through us, or through an umbrella company that we use called Generate. So in terms of the benefits of, but they're both great ways of being paid. In terms of PAYE, your ANZ UK contribute to your employer's national insurance, so that's covered through us as a company. If you were to use an umbrella company, it means that you contribute to your own employer national insurance. So we offer a different pay rate through the umbrella company than we would through PAYE. So I suppose a simple way of looking at it is, if you were to work casually 5 days a week through our umbrella company, you would say be on 170, let's say, for example, £175 a day as a teacher. For the same, if you were the same banding of teacher through PAYE, you would be on around about 150 a day. So you will probably work out to be marginally better off for money in pocket going through an umbrella company than you would be to go through PAYE. Some people choose to go through PAYE because they feel like it's slightly with a lot of things that they have to organize when they first get there. They feel that makes sense, but you actually, in terms of money in pocket each week, will be marginally better off through an umbrella company. So probably between £15 to £20 a week better off going through an umbrella company. And it isn't actually that difficult to organize and keep on top of. So our recommendation is an umbrella company, but we do offer both.
Yeah. Something that we can talk about in more depth once you're on the phone with us and the UK team as well, because yeah, we don't have that in Australia. But yeah, I guess one of the questions we get asked all the time is finding somewhere to live. You know, how do you find a place? Where do you look? So there's a few options. So yeah, general share house living, that's probably the most common. I lived in 2 different flats when I was in London, or people I didn't know both times. Always just with Kiwis and Aussies, to be fair, both times. But yeah, which is great. So you move in on a tenancy, it's already there. Most places are already furnished, so like your beds, shelving and things like that are already provided, which is great, and Hannah can probably attest to that. She's just found her place and gone through the process. And sometimes bills and like rates and stuff are included, sometimes they're not, so yeah, just good to, I guess, check beforehand as well. But yeah, lots of places to look. Facebook group is probably one of them as well, but Aussies in London and Kiwis in London are amazing. I found both my rooms through Kiwis in London. They have like weekly flatting posts, same with Aussies in London as well, and people just post their rooms in there. So yeah, it's pretty hectic, I think, at the moment. I know, similar to Melbourne, finding a place. So just gonna be on, it's really like once you're there, you can go and view them and things like that. There's obviously smaller groups as well, like Spare Room and Rightmove and things like that as well. But yeah, just like make sure, I guess, do heaps of research before you arrive, and think of like things that you're happy to compromise on and things that you don't want to compromise on. Different areas, it's sometimes hard to know where in, if you're going to London, like what area you want to even live in, and something that your consultant in the UK can help with for sure. But yeah, have a think about what your budget might be, and things. It's, yeah, I'd say I guess, Hannah, like 4 to 6 weeks to finding a place once you land. Super varied.
Yeah, I think definitely if you are looking to head over, try and pre-book just an Airbnb, as Liv was saying, just to try to take that pressure off yourself as well. You don't want to be worried about where you're sleeping in the next night. I booked, I think, initially for 2 weeks, and I just went to as many house inspections as possible. And it worked out for me, but I do know a few people that were jumping from Airbnb to Airbnb for a few weeks. But there's also, opportunities. Some people head on holidays for a month and will sublet their room for a month. So also have a look into those short-term let opportunities as well.
Yeah, so it's a great way.
I would just quickly add on that as well. I suppose, looking at it from the positive standpoint, even though it is quite competitive, having a few short-term lets to start gets you really a chance to go and get a feel for the different areas potentially live. So when you do then come to finding something slightly longer term, you can make that really sort of educated decision on the area that you feel best sort of aligns to what you're looking for. So there's definitely positives from doing those short-term lets to start with.
Yeah, it's a great way to meet people as well. We had a couple come into ours for a 3-month sublet in my room, in our house, sorry. It was great. They didn't know anyone over there, and like they meet people through us and the sports and things like that. So definitely a good way to meet people as well. And yeah, general getting around London, public transport's amazing. The tube, buses, that's pretty much how I got around the whole time. Biking as well is pretty big. If you're thinking maybe Bristol or Wales, definitely a car would be suggested. Not like recommended, but like if you want to go a bit further out and yeah, do transport, a car is always great. And then foot as well. I guess our ideal would be sending you around the corner to a school that you can just walk to. Not always the case. But yeah, the public transport in the UK is generally amazing. The trains and stuff and getting around, definitely no complaints there with that. So yeah.
So setting up for life in the UK, I'm going to be perfectly honest, a lot of this can be done when you get here, but it's always good to just kind of know what's available for you. So I guess the most important part is having access to money, because you'll need money when you're getting things like public transport and things like that. So you can use a bank card, so you can send your money from overseas. So these are some options. So ING actually offers an option, and I think I had my ING card, and you can just tap it, and I think it has sort of a program where you get refunded for those international transfer fees, which is really great. There's Citibank, there's Foreign Exchange and Payments Company, OFX, and Wise is an amazing one. I would highly recommend Wise. You can actually get online, order your Wise card while you're still in Australia, so you can get that delivered. And it has sort of little pockets for different currencies. So if you're traveling over to Europe and you're using euros, you can transfer your Australian money into euros or pounds, and that's really helpful as well. So you do need to wait to get to the UK to set up your bank account. That's why Wise is a really great one to have before you come over, just because you will need an address. So there are a lot of options to consider, but some really good ones are HSBC and also Monzo as well. Amazing. So setting up for life in the UK, we do need to think about mobile phones as well. I would definitely recommend coming over first before you're worrying about setting up your UK phone account. So SIMs are very cheap over here. I think I'm only paying like £15 a month, which is ridiculously cheap. So yeah, some really good companies are 3Mobile, giffgaff. They're really good options to consider. Yeah, again, like you can try and organise it when you're at home, but they're just everywhere when you arrive in London. So it's very easy to just pick one up as soon as you arrive. So your national insurance number, you do need to wait until you get to the UK before you can set this one up. So this is, I guess, the equivalent of your tax file number. So it's, you know, it's needed for tax payments and things like that. So once you're in the UK, you're, again, yep, that's exactly what I just said. So for further info, if you just go onto the government website, there'll be a link there for your setting up your national insurance number. So yeah, you can set that one up once you arrive. It's not urgent, but yeah, we do try and get you that national insurance number as quickly as possible, just so when you're working and stuff, you've got that with you.
Amazing.
Amazing. So we've got lots of community events. We've actually got one coming up on the 4th of Feb here in the UK. So a lot of our educators, again, I noticed in the chat, there was a lot that are planning on coming over in that January period. So all of our new Brit-bound educators will be coming together. It's a really good chance to meet people who've just arrived as well. You'll never know who you might meet. There could be someone living around the corner from you. There could be someone also looking for a place to live. You might band together and find a place. I know that's happened before with a lot of our educators. There's also some in cities around Australia as well. So we've just recently had some in Sydney and in Melbourne. So they continue to run throughout the year, and Liv goes to a lot of those ones, and so does Sid. So you might even see them there. So definitely get around those ones. I know because I worked in Collingwood for about 6 months before I moved over here. It was just so fun. I met a lot of people at our Melbourne-based educator event, and then I came over and went to the London one and met those same educators, and now we're really great friends. We travelled to Scotland together. So it's just kind of a full circle experience, just seeing some familiar faces when you arrive. Great. And then, yeah, so we've got our Brit Bound Educator Facebook page. So this is a really great community. There's people posting things in this page all the time, just about travel adventures that they might be having. Liv and I are always posting, you know, upcoming events and things as well. So definitely, yeah, get onto this page here. So if you want to just make a note of that one, that would be great.
Yeah, and we'll send that link through to everyone as well.
Yeah, we'll send that link out too. Yep. Yeah, and again, as I mentioned, welcome events are so important. So definitely try and lock those ones in your calendar. If you miss one, that's completely fine. They do happen quite regularly. So you can just jump into the next one. I think the last one, we did sort of a scavenger hunt around London. So yeah, if you haven't been to London before, you know, we were doing all the different sites in London. So it was a really good opportunity to start feeling a little bit more at home. And yeah, lots of fun times. Sporting clubs. So I arrived and I'd never played AFL football before. Apparently it's a big thing over here, which I didn't realise. Lots of little Aussie communities love getting together and just playing some AFL. So we do have a few different ones that we're affiliated with. So we've got Wandsworth Demons, South East London Giants. I actually joined one called Wimbledon Hawks. There was a girl who I work with who plays for Wimbledon Hawks. So we've actually got a few educators down there playing as well, which is really nice. We've got some netball clubs. I've also joined a mixed netball club with some boys who've never played before. It's really good fun. Get lots of obstruction calls, but that's okay. We've got some women's AFL, AFL for guys as well. And it's really nice, you know, we've got the guys and girls that train together. So it's a really nice chance to get to meet lots of different people. Rugby league, we've got the West Warriors, we've got rugby union as well. And we've also got lots of cricket clubs, and some of our cricket clubs are also indoors. So a really good, you know, opportunity to stay warm in winter.
I actually played for Northfields Cricket Club.
Oh, there you go.
The test, it's really nice, and I think the thing to keep in mind with those sporting groups as well is you don't have to have any kind of sporting quality to get involved. Some people go and don't play at all. It's just a really nice
social
community aspect and great way of just meeting like-minded people who have gone over in a similar situation. Cool. In terms of just really quickly on this, we have a travel affiliation. Really happy to announce this. Past 6 months and for the rest of this year, we're lining up with Contiki, which are a group travel company similar to sort of Top Deck. We're offering a 5% off any tour using the code ANZUK5. So look, I know we've touched a lot about the sort of teaching aspect, but I know that a big reason why a lot of people travel over to the UK is that close proximity to Europe and being able to go and see loads of different countries, especially in that summer break. So yeah, hit up Contiki. They're a great company, and equally similar to the sporting groups, a great way of meeting lots of sort of like-minded people who enjoy the travel as well as the education side.
Yeah, and I did one when I first got there. So I traveled around Europe for about a month, and I actually met one of my now best friends on the trip. She was moving to London after the trip as well. So you never know who you're going to meet. It was a great way to hit up some countries. But yeah, I guess now into the nitty gritty things, compliance requirements. And I don't want to delve into this too much. Like I said, we've got a great compliance team in the UK, and everyone's super across it. So can help go into this in more depth. But I guess the initial parts, it's just, it's a very high level of compliance that we need. In line with like your child safeguarding requirements in the UK. So we need a CV to our UK template. We can help you with this. We provide a template and things. So like a photo as well. References needs to cover the last 2 years of employment, whether that's in a teaching role, or if you're looking to do teaching assistant work, it might be other non-teaching related references, which is totally fine. And then police checks as well. So you'll need a UK police check. Even though you probably haven't lived or worked in the UK before, you still need one. It's a blanket rule pretty much for anyone going into any school in the UK. So we can help you with that. And a police check as well. So whether that's an Australian police check or a New Zealand police check as well, both of which we can help you with as well. It needs to be within the last 12 months. So if you've already got one, then that's absolutely fine. And then qualifications, we can go through that as well. So yes, we can just cite your qualifications through equals, really easy. If you've heard of like mandatory reporting here in Australia, the UK have a similar one. It's called safeguarding. It takes about a quarter of the time. I think it's only about 10 or 15 minutes rather than the 45 to an hour we have here in Australia. So everyone's always happy to hear that. You can teach in the UK as well for up to 4 years if you aren't like a fully qualified, if you don't have like your VIT, for example, your full VIT. We definitely recommend if you have your full teaching registration, you can apply for the equivalent in the UK. It's called a QTS, and it's just a mutual recognition, really. It's free to do, super easy, and it really helps in those like more contract roles and things. So where you're aligning your experience with the UK and things like that. Again, we can talk to you about this in more detail when we have this and things. And yeah.
Cool. So travel requirements. We want to just make you aware. We recommend wherever possible to book a flexi ticket with your flight, just in case of any unforeseen changes. Travel insurance, highly recommend you book your travel insurance for travels over to the UK, just in terms of, especially if you're going over for a long period of time, lost luggage is a bit of a nightmare. So just want to ensure you've got that covered. But once you are over in the UK, you will be covered by the NHS, the reciprocal healthcare. But you do need, the one thing to keep in mind is I think people then think that they're covered for their travel throughout Europe. It's only covered for them when you're in the UK. So you will still need to make sure you're booking your travel insurance for those European travels as well. Cool. Look, why ANZ UK? I suppose we like to offer that sort of a holistic approach to recruitment. We want to ensure you have the sort of best time over there and support that. And these are some of the ways that we do. So we have blogs that are posted each month around people's experiences teaching and living in the UK, so you can really get a feel for people on the ground and how they're enjoying it. We have our LMS, which is our learning module. Again, it has ways of upskilling and professional development that's updated weekly. Facebook groups that we've touched upon to sort of connect with like-minded educators. We run regular events and look to sort of offer that 360 support where we have obviously teams in the Australia and teams over in the UK. We're able to support you in your journey up until when you leave, and then that support when you're on the ground as well. And we hope that from that we build these communities that we've kind of touched upon, both with our pre-departure events and your events when you get there. We've been doing this now for upwards of 18 years, so we've built those communities over a long period of time. And local and global opportunities are kind of the main thing that we look to offer.
Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in on this Tuesday. We're happy to stick around for a little bit longer. If you've got any questions, feel free to send them through, or if you want to turn your mic off, you can speak as well. Happy to help and try answer them if we can.
If people have got to shoot off as well, I will stick my email in the chat. So any other questions that you might come to you over the next hour, days, weeks, if you want to send it through, if I can answer it, I will do. If not, I'll send it to the relevant person that can.
Yeah. And we'll also send out a follow-up email tomorrow, so you'll have links you can book a call in with anyone. But yeah, definitely recommend the Facebook group. It's awesome, and our blogs great too. Like we've touched on, there's pretty much anything you Duncan, your wife wants to know if there's an upper age limit as we are no longer in your 20s. That's okay. So yeah, if they're actually looking to extend, probably should have mentioned the youth mobility visa from 31 to 35. So that's hopefully coming into action this year. If you're above the 35 age, that would be where the skilled worker comes into, skilled visa. So we can have a talk to you about that as well. If you get sponsored as a teacher, that will be your dependent as well. So your partner or your family can come over on that visa if that's an option. Hopefully that kind of answers that. So it can get a little bit tricky just depending on just subjects and things like that are sponsored, but you're happy to have a chat about that further for sure.
I had a question.
Hey, Molly.
Hi. I know you said earlier that we were guaranteed, or like as much as we'd like in terms of work. How guaranteed are we? Yeah, because I'm moving over in April and I'm considering just doing like replacement teaching purely instead of going into a contract or anything. So you said like as many days as we put down, we'll kind of get, or?
Yeah, I guess that's a really good question. I probably should have delved into that one a little bit more. So essentially how it works, it means we're committed to getting you out for work for those days that you want to work. If there's a reason there's not enough bookings or something, we can't get you out for work on that day, it means we would just pay you for that day of work anyway. So you're still guaranteed that payment. Of course, you know, there needs to be some sort of travel requirements as well. So about an hour of travel you'd have to be open to. In London, that's a fairly reasonable commute. You're looking to travel at least an hour on tubes and things. A lot of schools as well will try and, you know, keep you close to home, but as long as you're open to that travel requirement, the ambassador program would be a good fit.
Cool. And just one more question.
Yeah.
I guess through word of mouth here, I've heard that ANZUK UK takes like a cut of the payment, obviously because you're in the organisation. Do you know how much that is roughly, like percentage wise, or?
So we don't actually pay, we don't take a cut of your pay. So what happens is we actually have a charge rate for the schools. And then from that charge rate, you know, out comes things like, you know, your insurance, we're paying sort of onboarding costs for you as well, your recruitment and actually helping you move over to the UK. So, you know, it is quite minimal when you do take that out of your pay. If you were to go directly through a school, if you were looking for a long-term contract, you would be paid to scale anyway. So you're not actually getting any loss at all. You'd be paid the same going directly through a school and through us as well. On supply, there might be a tiny bit of a difference, but that's just, you know, onboarding costs and things like that. Olivia and Sid, do you have anything more to add to that one?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's the same here in Australia. We don't take any cuts or commissions. Obviously, if you go
okay, good. That's just what I heard.
And that's a total conception that people think about. I thought that too about agencies as well. You're not the first person to say that. But yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. Thank you.
Hopefully that answers your question. I think Steph sent you a question, Sid.
So just in terms of sending the slides out after the meeting, we do. This will come out in our follow-up email that will come across to you tomorrow, Steph.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there was just a question about cost of a spousal visa.
I'm not sure on the cost of.
What we can do is we can definitely organise a chat. We'd probably have to do a bit more research ourselves on that one. I'm not entirely sure because it would depend on things like, you know, healthcare and insurance and things like that, which is part of the Tier 5 visa. I'm not entirely sure about the spousal visa, but we can definitely have a look and find that out.
And Gemma, work more North Manchester. Yeah. So do you want to take this one?
We can certainly offer it in terms of if it was a long-term or a permanent position. We don't actually have offices based up in Manchester. So from a casual relief point of view, we wouldn't be able to. But we have been known to assist with those permanent opportunities in Manchester. So there are plenty of teaching agencies, though, Gemma, that will be able to assist in terms of finding work up in Manchester. There's one called Teaching Personnel that I know are really good, and they've got a strong presence in Manchester. So I recommend that.
Manchester's awesome. It's a great city.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah, it's really good. It does rain a lot, though. Is that one thing to keep in mind?
Yes, very true.
Cool.
Are there any other questions? No questions, a silly question.
But
any questions about, you know, I guess life in UK, I was about to say London again, or moving, or any concerns along those lines as well?
Ollie's got another question.
Oh.
How long have you been in London now, Hannah? Been there for a few months?
Well, it's been 4 months now,
Wow.
but it's just flown. I just feel, yeah, so at home here.
Same.
Yeah, it's been not too long at all, actually. Yeah, like, and I think it has technically been a bit longer because I left Australia and did a bit of travel beforehand. So I've been away for about 6 months now. Got all that travel bug out of the system before I started work, which was nice.
Where did you travel before, Hannah?
Oh, everywhere. I did a lot of time in Italy. Also did Portugal, Spain, went up to Andorra, which was really beautiful. Did Germany, did Oktoberfest, which was amazing. Loved it. Yeah, Amsterdam, Prague, all
Amazing.
over the place, really. Yeah,
Okay.
and people have asked, like, what's your favorite place? And it's just so hard because every place is so different. But yeah, love a good beach.
Yeah,
Italy
absolutely.
has nice beaches. Yeah.
Yeah.
Molly, just in terms of your question, if you're moving over in April but planning on holiday until September, yeah, certainly still worth signing up now, especially if you're planning on getting over to London, setting up and then doing your holiday. There's actually the timings that you've put there actually work really well in terms of the academic year. So if you plan to start working in September, whether that be a longer term or casual relief work, there'll be a number of opportunities because it'll be the start of the academic year. So certainly
really nice.
worth signing up now.
And nice to be going over knowing that you're cleared for work as well. So you don't have to worry about police
100%.
checks and references and stuff whilst
Yeah.
you're in Italy or Greece or wherever
And
it is you're going.
Hayley, in terms of I've never rented before. Would this affect me being able to get accommodation over there? No, shouldn't affect you at all. You'll still just need to go through the similar processes. I would just, as we touched upon, just try get out and see as many as many accommodations as possible, as quickly as possible. It is quite competitive over there, but no, it shouldn't have any effect.
Yeah.
There's one for you, Hannah, there.
Yeah. So I cheated a little bit. So I actually went home for a wedding about 2 months into arriving to London. So I was really lucky. I traveled with my backpack, so all it had was my summer clothes. So that was all I had with me for about 2 months. And then I got to London, bought a few things like coats and stuff. But when I went home, I actually bought all my heavy clothes back with me. However, in saying that, I've got so many friends who came to London. There's very sort of cheap storage you can get. They're just like, a basic box. You can fit a suitcase in it. So you can drop everything off and then you can start your traveling from there. So that would be, definitely do that if you've got lots of things like suitcases and luggage. You don't want to be traveling around European summer with all your, Kathmandus and North Faces. So yeah, does that sort of answer your question, Jenny?
Steph, just to answer yours in terms of how much money is recommended to save prior to moving over. Look, I'd say it really is relevant to how quickly you would want to begin working. I would certainly recommend having probably at least a couple of thousand English pounds just in terms of thinking around a deposit that you would need to put down for accommodation when you arrive, and just ensuring, you've got enough to sort of see you through that first sort of month or so. But it's probably really relevant to how quickly you would want to begin working.
Yeah, and depending if you want to go traveling as well beforehand. If
Absolutely.
not, I had about I think I had about 8 to 10 New Zealand $1,000, which was fine. Yeah, and then also like teaching, if you're doing CRT, you're getting paid weekly as well. So, which is nice. I had to wait a month when I joined my recruitment job, so that was tough. But Andrew, if you're planning on graduating, it's absolutely fine. Heading over in January or whenever that is. We can start the process. 12 months out really, or we can book like an initial call and have a chat. For sure, that's exciting. Congrats.
Caitlin. Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
No, you go.
Look, I think it's completely up to you, Caitlin. I would say we've got a lot of graduates who've come over. They've been super confident with just going straight into a role. We do offer trial days as well, so we can negotiate with the school, a trial week or a trial day, just so you can get into the school and just make sure it's the right fit for you. Other people prefer to do a little bit of CRT work first, just to get used to the systems, get used to the schools. But I would say it's really dependent on you as a person and how confident you would feel.
All right, cool, thank you. It's just something I've been thinking about for a while, because I'm quite confident here, but I'm not 100% sure like how different it's going to be. There.
Yeah, look, I would say at its core, it's quite similar. You know, there's a similar curriculum. You don't have any language barriers and things like that. Obviously, you know, there's slight differences, but I think even within Australia, there's slight differences between every school that you would have to get used to anyway. So yeah, I would say in terms of like the transfer from Australia to London, it's pretty seamless. Yeah.
Thank you. I do like the sound of the trial run. I think that would
yeah, and I would recommend that as well. Like I wouldn't go in blind to a school. We can definitely organise, you know, Zoom chats and things with the staff at the school, and they can sort of put you at ease as well. We actually had an educator who did a class on Zoom. Yeah, just to sort of see, you know, the students that she would be teaching and things like that. So there's a lot of opportunities there if you had any issues or worries. Schools are so on board with just, putting you at ease and, you know, sitting down with you and explaining a little bit about, you know, the class.
All right, cool. Thank you very much.
That's all right. I'm just scrolling through. I don't believe there's any more questions at the moment. Again, you know, we'd love to have a chat to you further. So if you are looking to move over, I'd say, even if it's a year out, definitely still a good time to just have a catch up. And we can touch base every few months and just see where your head's at, see, you know, what's sort of playing on your mind, if something's changed, things like that, that's completely fine. And then you can also ask that, you know, those in-depth questions as well. If you have specific concerns or specific things that you want to chat about, it's a good opportunity to bring those up.
Yeah, and like we have events, you're more welcome to come along to those as well. We've got in-person information sessions as well. And yeah, we have like a newsletter we can send out to you guys as well, add you to the list, which is really good as well, seeing kind of what's happening. And but yeah, Facebook group's a great way to keep in contact.
Thanks, Duncan. That's a lovely comment. It was lovely to meet you too.
Sounds great.
Yeah, hopefully you're over in London soon.
Or Bristol, or sorry,
Teaching
or Wales.
in China would be cool. And Hong Kong and Singapore. That's incredible.
Oh, cool, Steph. Good time to move over in March and do some supply work before the long summer break.
I mean, 100% Steph, if you can. I think, the more experience you can get will really then settle you for if you then start in September. But not to worry, if not, they'll put so much sort of support in place and we'll be able to assist you as well. So either or will be absolutely fine. Yeah.
There's no right or wrong time to start when you're doing CRT work over in England. So it's really depending on when you want to start, really.
Thanks, guys. It's been so lovely chatting to you all. Hope you have a lovely evening.
Yes, thank you.
I'll have
hope you have a lovely morning.
Thank you. Got a whole day to go.
Rhiannon, have you joined? Have you just joined? I think the time difference. I'm not sure where are you based, Rhiannon. Are you? Daylight savings. Where do you live?
Daylight savings. Brisbane. Oh.
Oh no. Right, this has been recorded, so we'll send it out to you anyway, and we'll send you the information pack. Sorry.
Rhiannon, do you have any questions at all? Quickly. We've just gone through a whole presentation, which will probably answer a lot, but was there anything you kind of wanted to know most?
And Celeste as well. I should touch the 17 plate. We won't send out on the original in the email we'll send tomorrow. But initial CV from you is fine. That's it. It's just when you're going over to the UK, we can we'll send you that in our follow-up email once we've had a talk to you on the phone and things. But yeah, no need to stress.
I spoke to Rhiannon this week, but Rhiannon, I will send that out to you. So sorry in terms of that time. This has been recorded, so feel free to watch it at your leisure. We'll send it out.
Sorry, it's always confusing, the different time zones and everything. But yeah, Celeste will send that email tomorrow. I'll email it out to everyone. But yeah, is there other questions? it's been lovely chatting to everyone, and hopefully you learned something new. But yeah, like I said, we'll do the follow-up email tomorrow. You can book a time in with Sid, Tyler, or I, and then yeah, we'll pop in touch with our team in the UK. Might even be Hannah if you're lucky.
Lovely to chat to you all. So yeah,
cool.
looking forward to it.
Thanks everyone. Have a good evening.